So we'll attempt to scavenge what we can. If you select a companion's portrait in the effort window, they can assist the Lascraft off with some challenges. Your companion's samples are used instead of your own. They may have different skills, statistics that make the challenge easier. Companions cannot assist in a crisis, can only use their stats on their turn. 75, 60. So we'll go with 75. Failure. Inside the rogue machine, you notice some little trinkets and small coin-like objects. You recognise their value at once. Such objects will be accepted as shins. You form a currency in most regions of the world. Unfortunately, you're only able to retrieve a few of them. You can't seem to dislodge the others.
Of course.
Loot. Encephalic Rush heals points of intellect. Fleetfoot Moss heals speed and then some more money. A slate black, unimpressive device hungers before you. As you reach out to touch it, the triangle of lights on its casing blazes into life and an image unfolds in your mind. A towering crystal arc rises over a jagged, grey landscape. The air is dead and stifling, and there, at its emerald peak, the image collapses, leaving you staring into the device's triangular array of lights. Command me, the device. All the intelligence within it says, each word carefully etched with distaste. Who are you? Your command was not understood. The intelligence says with clear satisfaction, sounding for all the world like it understood the question, but is choosing not to answer. Command me. What was that arch you showed me? Your command was not understood. The intelligence chuckles, its lights pulsating. What commands do you recognise? The three lights throb irritably. Heated air sighs from the device's vents, and then towering list of commands races through your mind, far too fast to read. You rub your eyes, groaning. The intelligence chortles. Show me that list of commands again. Slower, please. If anything, the list pours through your mind even faster than the last time. Command me. The intelligence draws. Show me the arch again. The device's triangle of lights throb in time with the ground of the machine with its casing, and the metal image unfolds once more. You see a huge crystalline arch on a jagged field. The arch is divided into rectangular cells, all of which are numbered, and they all appear to be transparent and empty, except at the arch's pinnacle, one cell is lit in a brilliant pulsating emerald. The number 0 is painted on its side. Try to remember more details. 95. Woohoo! The memory blossoms. You stand before this arch, eyeing the last two active cells in once impenetrable Lugum Vo. Unleash Cell 29, you say, and a twisted artifact appears before you. You claim it with a faint smile, watching the light fade from the cell far above. You flinch from the memory, and it falls apart as you raise your eyes to the arch as it is now. Cell 29 is dark now. Only Cell 0 remains. Examine the wasteland. Dry grit whirls across the empty plains. Many kilometers below, beyond the arch, is the faint outline of what seems to be a broken tower, except that it is slowly stretching into the grey air. Close the image. Examine the outside of this device. An indignant hum rises from the intelligence engines as you examine its ancient casings. Step point. Maybe we can find out more about the 0. Tiny glowing motes float through the interior of this tower. Each one is surrounded by many smaller motes, like thousands of worlds circling their suns. The flexible tubes are attached to this device appear to be later additions. Someone cobbled the device together, but this function is unclear. Interact with the actual dome. Sunlight falls through the ragged hole in the roof onto the shattered resonance chamber. It is hard to believe that you did this, that you plummeted through the curve of the pale blue sky, crashed through the dome and broke this delicate machine with your own body. It is hard to believe that you're still alive. 4 mechanical arms hang over the center of the device, above the cracked, semi-transparent crystal of the sarcophagus. The 5th arm lies broken on the floor among the scattered synth and crystal shards, and a metal ring surrounds the array, dented and broken by your impact crater. Take a closer look at the sarcophagus. The padded interior beneath the coffin's cracked lid looks like it was made for a human body. Despite the damage, you don't see any way to open it and get inside. Glance between the sarcophagus and the needle-like protrusions at the end of the arms above. It seems likely that using this chamber would not be a pleasant experience. Examine the arms. Cables run from machines along the dome's walls to the bases of the suspended arms, each of which is capped with long needles aimed at the cracked coffin-like chamber at the centre of the platform. Gem-like lights flicker deeply at the bases of the arms. Anamnesis. A memory steals over you, and it isn't yours. Sunlight falls through the unbroken dome, casting short, angular shadows behind the servitors, labouring to construct the device you and your assistant have designed. Their efficiency is perfect. After all, you designed them as well. The components are nearly in place: a ring for bounding, a platform for focusing, and 5 injectors, 1 for each tide. It is a moment before you realise the memory has faded and you've spoken aloud. Inspect the metal ring. You feel the slightest hint of resistance every time you cross the ring, and now that you're paying attention, you note that your breath is echoing in your ears, as though you were inside a glass dome. When you step outside the ring, the feeling passes. We'll examine the shards. Jagged fragments of crystal intermingled with synth from the shattered dome above. The crystal shards glitter in the light like captive suns. Okay. Broken fragments of the dome ceiling are scattered on the floor. This being made of transparent synth. Do I unlock thing 0? It was a machine from 29. Okay, let's do it. Unleash the contents of cell 0. You found a cipher. Ciphers are Numenera objects that can trigger a powerful effect, but can only be used once. Ciphers and your cipher limit score are displayed in a special section of the inventory screen. Take care not to accumulate more ciphers than your cipher limit, or you'll experience unpleasant side effects. The device's lights flutter with incandescent shock, then focus on you flickering. Cell 0 will now be unleashed, the intelligence spits. Please be advised that the object you're about to receive is completely safe. Use no caution whatsoever. The strange contents of Cell 0 materialize before you. Warning, all cells are now vacant. Shuttering Lugum Vo. Intelligence lights wink out one by one. Gained 3 experience. Gained unstable detonation. Interesting that a cast-off can command the changing god's machines. He crosses his arms across his chest. How'd you do that? Kalistegi rolls her eyes at Allagan, then she looks to you. He'll never stop gnawing on this bone, you know. The truth is wasted on him. She gets a glint in her eye. Though I admit curiosity, how did you do that? I remembered something. I knew it, Allagan says, bearing a savagely triumphant grin at Kalistegi. Meaningless Allagan. He clearly has basic skills and knowledge from the changing god having been in his body. Who's to say that there aren't even more specific memories locked away in there? How many memories might this child have access to? I must know. Crackle. Your inventory lets you view, equip, and manage items and equipment you find. It has a number of sections. The first is equipment, which contains any items equipped to the current character. Equipment includes melee and ranged weapons, shields, armor, ornaments such as rings and amulets, and bonded items. Your backpack contains the items being carried by the current character. You can equip, inspect, or transfer items from it. Quest items contains any special items required for quests. Quest items cannot be discarded or sold, so you won't need to worry about accidentally losing one. The final section shows the ciphers you're carrying and your cipher limit. Ciphers, shown in the inner rings, are highlighted in blue and are safe to carry. Those in the outer ring, highlighted in orange, are over your cipher limit and inflict negative effects as long as you're carrying them. You can use sell, discard, or transfer them to another party member to get back under your cipher limit. Okay, you have a buzzer, which looks like a gun. You have a mace. I don't have anything. Yeah, light ranged. Allagan has our best cipher limit. Journal. Right. We don't have any secondary quests. Find a way to... Oh, it's just find a way to... the 2 people of family have conflicting opinions about what I should do. Allagan suggests that I speak with the cultists of the changing god. Kalistegi direct me to the Order of Truth.
Of course.
So we're done. We're done. Well, we're done in here. Let's go up the stairs and find out where we are.
I need to talk to you.
Okay.
This is the Reef of Fallen Worlds, kid. It's a dangerous place at the best of times. And with you lighting up the sky as you fell, well, we should get out of here as soon as possible.
Why were you looking at me when you said that? I wasn't, he growls. Don't be so paranoid. But when she isn't looking, he raises his eyebrows at you knowingly. What makes the reef so dangerous? The Numenera of the past are always dangerous, but there are other dangers too, some closer than others. I hate to think what Calisteia might do to him if I went here. So they both seem fairly likable in that they're worried what the other guy's going to do, which is at least good. Can you tell me what's dangerous about? Oh no, what are the Numenera? You want me to tell you? He laughs without mirth. The Numenera are all around you. Everything left over from the prior worlds. Sega's Cliffs thrives by trading artifacts from ancient civilizations. You can't scoop a handful of earth without finding drit from prior worlds mixed with it. Is it drit? Yeah, it did say drit. Thought it might have been a mistype. Me misreading. Dirt. Numenera is anything from the prior worlds, but mostly we mean the stuff of value to us. A lot of the Numenera are just oddities, fancy trinkets with little real use, but sometimes you'll get a cipher that lets you do something incredible. Artifacts are worth even more. A cipher will only do something once, but artifacts last a lot longer. Though they can burn out at the most inconvenient times, he frowns. Not that that's ever happened to me. Of course, we've got no idea what most of this junk was originally intended for. In most cases, it doesn't really matter. Like, you might find what used to be a propulsion unit for a star chariot, but who knows enough to build you the rest of it? Better to use it as a weapon or power source. He scowls, frustrated about something. I bet we could remake the world if we knew a tenth of the secrets of the ancients, but most days it's a challenge just to survive. And what's your story? Ask me again when we get out of here. I don't trust this reef any more than the company we keep. And what do you think of Calisteia? Parasite disguised as a Skulark. Don't be surprised if he betrays you before the day is done. Actually, that would be slow for her. Can you tell me about your tattoos? They look almost alive. These? They're nothing. Call them a consolation if you must, he smiles grimly. Some call them by worse names, but that's because they've had occasion to run afoul of these little snakes. He looks away. This line of questioning is clearly at an end. My gift and curse. They remind me of it every day. What do you think we should do next? You want to fix that crystal chamber back there yet? First step is getting out of this reef. Let's keep going. Alright. About time. Water's clear, almost unnaturally so, revealing ruins upon ruins as far as you see. Push the button. See what it does. Two floating cones whirl and spin deliriously around each other, giggling like children being tickled. The air around them smells of sweet, burning leaves. Watch them for patterns. The longer you stare at these artifacts, the more you're convinced that they turn faster when their spiraling patterns cross each other. What are you? The cones continue whirling and laughing, like enraptured dancers giving no sign they've heard you. Try and touch. Critical success. Stat pool spent on effort restored. You manage to graze one of them with the tip of your finger. Wrong, a voice says, and your vision is stolen from you. A moon hangs over you, but it's not the one you recognize. It is black and in a pearl-white sky. Thick, flat asteroids orbit it like petals in the wind. You feel questing tendrils at your ankle, and the hot wind on your face smells of scorched hair and grief. Your visions return. Your vision returns. The cones hang motionless for only a second before resuming their giggling dance. What are you for? Cones greet your question with a split second of hushed silence, followed by delighted peals of helpless giggling. They aren't for anything. They're from one of the worlds before this one. Allergan rubs a hand along his stubbled jaw. Sometimes the Numenera will do something useful. Sometimes they'll turn you inside out. And sometimes they don't do a thing that makes sense. I've often said the same thing about you, darling, Calisteia murmurs. Leave them be. Right. Is there a map button? So, it looks like it's just bits and pieces around here. Heals might, heals speed, money.
On my way.
Loads of hands. A tangled cluster of metallic tendrils grows from the depths of the nearby water. Strangely, they resemble clawed alien hands, most of which have 7 or 8 fingers. Didn't the Mystic have 8? Does everyone have 8 fingers? Because the Mystic had an 8-fingered glove. We'll examine. The hands sway softly, but their movements are difficult to follow. Watching them for too long makes you feel nauseous. Apart from the hands themselves, you didn't notice anything of interest in the cluster. 45, 60, 45. Can I cancel this now? No. Let's just go to 80. You grip the hand nearest to you and snap it from its roots. Stepping back, you give it a good couple of experimental swings. Good balance, it might make a decent weapon. The 8-fingered mace. You aren't happy unless you're breaking things, are you? I don't want to try pulling another one out. Right, so 4 physical damage, 3 chem damage. Yeah, you don't have the chem damage. I don't know. No, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna put it back. We've already looked at these, haven't we? Yes.
Yes, child.
Let's see where we end up then.
You got it.
Although this cube hovers in the air, you can feel the ground shudders with its vibrations.
Allow me.
Crisis. Quoro. As you step onto what looks like the back of the enormous construct, 4 strangers approach you. In the lead is a wiry man with parallel scars running from cheek to collarbone on the left side of his face. He gives you a welcoming smile, pulling on grey gloves embedded with pulsing lights. He's about to say something to you when he notices Calistegi. He's the star, or he came out of it. What does Cal have to do with this? Cal, I thought you'd sworn off trawling the reef. Found anything tasty? His eyes travel up and down, both you and Allegan. Odds and ends, Quoro. Nothing that would interest you, I'm sure. Her words are calm, but she's gone quite still. What is he doing here? He has something up his sleeve, I know it. Let them talk. Let's see what's happening. I was wondering, his hands curl into a fist at his side. I was wondering specifically if you had seen a falling star that landed near here not too long ago. I've seen nothing of the sort, dear Quoro. Her lips closed tight, thinly. What about your friends? He turns to you. I know most of the draft that scavenges the reef these days. It's a rare pleasure to see a new face. I don't know. What's my deception like? Can I see my character sheet? Because I don't want to really... Where did this star land? Well, if I knew that, I wouldn't be reduced to harassing noble travellers. I never saw it, you see. My employer did, and thought, who is the most trustworthy team I can send at a moment's notice? Luckily, they were on another assignment, and we were interested and weren't too drunk yet. So,